Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to break down the true meaning of a word that gets tossed around all the time, but honestly, most of us might not fully understand it. I'm talking about aptitude. We're going to discover exactly what it means, how you can spot it in yourself and others, and most importantly, how it acts as this invisible architecture that actually shapes our ultimate success in life. So, let's get into it.
Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll start off by decoding true aptitude, then move into spotting hidden talents, realizing potential, comparing aptitude versus intelligence, and finally, we're going to unlock the ultimate success formula.
Okay, let's kick things off with a pretty fundamental question. I want you to think about the absolute greatest performers in the world. What actually separates a raw, naturally gifted prodigy from a true master of their craft? Like, is it literally just hard work? Or is there some kind of underlying blueprint they're building upon from day one?
Which brings us to Section 1, Decoding True Aptitude. Let's look at what this actually means.
Now, if we separate our capabilities across three distinct points in time, a really clear picture emerges. Think of a skill as something you learned in the past and have already mastered. Done? Check. An ability is something you're utilizing right now, in the present. But aptitude? That points strictly to the future. It's your innate, built-in capacity to learn things down the road. It's the potential, not the final product.
To see how this raw childhood aptitude eventually translates into present-day ability, look no further than Bollywood actor Hrithik Roshan. Check this out. At just 6 years old, as a child artist in the movie Asha, he displayed this massive, totally raw aptitude for the camera. Years later, that underlying future potential, well, it evolved into his present ability when he debuted as a leading hero in Kanona Pyar Hai. You see, the aptitude was always there, just waiting to be developed into an ability.
Now, before we move on, I need to point out an absolutely crucial distinction. Interest is not aptitude. Let me say that again. Interest does not equal aptitude. Having an interest in something just means you have positive emotions toward it. Like you might absolutely love watching basketball, right? But that doesn't guarantee you have the physical or mental aptitude to actually be a professional player. Interest is just about liking it. Aptitude is about your potential capability.
All right, moving right along to Section 2, Spotting Your Hidden Talents. How do we actually uncover this hidden potential in the real world?
Basically, you can spot aptitude in two primary ways. The first is informal. This happens through everyday observation by the people around you. You know, teachers, friends, or relatives who just kind of notice you have a natural knack for something. The second way is formal. This involves using structured, standardized tests designed by experts to measure specific cognitive and physical capacities.
So the really cool thing here is that informal observation can quite literally change a life. Consider this incredible real-world example. Indian cricket legend MS Dhoni was actually discovered by his school teacher. Picture this. The teacher saw Dhoni acting as a goalkeeper in a football match, instantly recognized his incredible natural aptitude for tracking and stopping the ball, and just decided to channel that exact same physical aptitude into wicket-keeping for the cricket team. And well, the rest is history.
On the formal side, institutions use very specific tools. Actually, there are 7 major types of formal aptitude tests used globally. For instance, you've got the Watson-Glasser test, which measures critical thinking and argument evaluation. Then there are verbal and numerical reasoning tests for, you guessed it, text and data. Inductive and diagrammatic tests look at your ability to spot patterns and reason logically. Situational judgment tests, which are super popular in corporate recruitment, see how you handle workplace conflicts. And finally, cognitive tests measure your general problem solving. These tests are basically designed to scientifically pull those hidden aptitudes right out into the light.
Let's jump into Section 3, Realizing Your Potential. Because knowing it's there is only half the battle. How do we bring it to life? Realizing your talent is a journey, and it generally requires completing these 3 critical requirements in order. Step 1, you absolutely must correctly identify the aptitude. Step 2, you've got to have the personal resolve and the drive to actually pursue it. And Step 3, you need an accommodating sociocultural and economic environment that actually allows you to nurture that talent.
Of course, the world isn't perfect, right? Sometimes you don't have the ideal economic background, or maybe your resolve wavers a bit. But here's the thing. An overwhelmingly dominant aptitude can still drive you to immense success, totally compensating for those other missing pieces. Think of the legendary Indian painter, M.F. Hussain. He rose from really humble beginnings simply because his artistic aptitude was undeniably powerful. Or take the Kapoor family in Indian cinema. Their generational, dominating aptitude for film has sustained their massive success for decades.
Identifying this potential early and providing that missing socio-economic support is exactly the logic behind India's Niti Aayog think tank and their ambitious action plan to win 50 Olympic medals. Their strategy's brilliant because it's so simple. Catch children young, base their sports selection strictly on their innate physical and mental aptitude, and then provide highly targeted training. Basically, don't just train them in what they happen to like, train them in what their underlying aptitude dictates they can actually master. It's a real game changer.
Okay, Section 4, Aptitude versus Intelligence. We need to clear up a massive misconception here.
While they get confused all the time, the differences are actually pretty stark. Look at it this way. Intelligence is entirely mental. It's your general capacity to think rationally and navigate your environment. Aptitude, on the other hand, spans both the mental and the physical realms. Intelligence is broad and general. You apply it everywhere. But aptitude, that is highly specific to a particular area, like MS Dhoni's physical reflex aptitude we talked about earlier. And finally, while intelligence can be both innate and naturally developed over time, your raw aptitude is purely innate. You are literally born with that foundational blueprint.
Which brings us to our final stop, Section 5, the ultimate success formula. It's time to weigh aptitude against attitude.
When you pit aptitude against attitude, a really fascinating dynamic emerges. Your aptitude is innate. It decides what you have the potential to do, giving you your baseline competence. But your attitude, that is learned. It dictates your character. And most importantly, your attitude decides how you will do something or, honestly, whether you'll even have the discipline to do it at all. You can have all the dormant aptitude in the world, but without the right attitude, well, it just stays dormant forever.
We can see this exact dynamic play out in the historic rivalry and partnership between Indian cricketers Sachin Tendulkar and Vinod Kambli. If you look back at their early days, a lot of experts actually believed Kambli had the far greater raw, innate aptitude for the sport. No joke. But Kambli's career ultimately faltered due to an improper attitude and a lack of discipline. Sachin Tendulkar, on the other hand, he combined his immense aptitude with an absolutely legendary, disciplined attitude. And that's exactly what propelled him to become one of the greatest players in history.
And that brings us to the ultimate equation we've been building toward this whole time. Your inherent aptitude, that raw, specific blueprint you're born with, plus the right learned attitude, plus opportunity, equals your final altitude in life. It's simple math, really. If any one of those three variables is a 0, your altitude drops. Which leaves us with this final, absolutely critical question for you to reflect upon regarding your own personal journey. Listen, we all have hidden aptitudes just waiting to be formally or informally spotted. But once you find yours, the ball is entirely in your court. You might have the aptitude, but do you have the attitude required to reach your highest altitude? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope you leave today ready to unlock your true potential. Catch you next time.